how from one day to the next, safaris can differ hugely. Yesterday morning, I had a huge herd of buffalo just here, thinking, wow, you know, you can't miss them and they're going to be around for a while. Yesterday afternoon, no buffalo large herd found. This morning, no large buffalo herd found. It just shows you, hey? I think that is what is always the major attraction of going on safari, is that, and I always reiterate this, is that no two days, no two safaris are the same. Animals always in different areas, although they are the same animals, as in some of the territorial, like Karula, the boys, Chingalans, you never know. Always something different. Always doing something different, somewhere different. Makes life interesting. Right, heading down Shibama Road in a southerly direction, and if you'd like to follow as we drive this afternoon, you can go to the Ning website. Ning, that's N-I-N-G. Go to Resources tab, and under Resources you'll see Maps, and under the heading Maps you will find a pretty good map of Western Gowrie. I'll show you. I've got a chest somewhere. It's this exact map. That's it exactly there. Okay. And the thick red lines are boundary lines. And we basically have 1,000 hectares that we drive. 1,000 hectares, it's about 2,500 acres. Nice sized backyard, eh? What do you think? Nice sized backyard. Last job we did yesterday morning, we managed to find all the pachyderms: rhino, buffalo, elephant. And then yesterday afternoon, Noel managed to get Induna, the male leopard, at Buffelshoek Dam, mixing with a herd of pachyderms, elephants. That was very brave of him. I didn't get to see the drive. But it sounds like if he didn't move, maybe he didn't have an option to move. Don't know. Try and keep that camouflage. So animals are either going to be in the shade, especially thick-skinned creatures, either in the shade or around water. Those are the big thick-skinned creatures. Cats also might probably sleeping up in the shade somewhere, not moving or limiting their movements. Hope we are lucky today. Haven't heard of the Kahumas if they're out and about. I spoke to Ephraim yesterday. Ephraim, one of the guides at Vuyatela, and Ephraim said that he tracked and tracked and tracked and he says they have just gone. I don't know if they were found this morning. Certainly yesterday they seemed to disappear. Alright, Treehouse Dam Road. Take us to Treehouse Dam directly. Except the guys are out. Normally elephant at Cheetah Plains, the guys are out pretty early now. Good afternoon, are there any stations mobile? Might be in the morning that they're out a little bit earlier. Yes, so enjoying a bit of high tea, possibly as we speak. High tea, always a great meal of the day. Some cakes, some good sweets, good savouries, good bit of tea, homemade lemonade, a bit of iced coffee, iced tea. Very nice. Very, very nice. Bit of vanilla iced tea, now that is nice. That's something that I really miss. Is that vanilla iced tea. Sure. I had a mixture, what is it? Vanilla, Earl Grey, and 5 roses. And rooibos. Like 4 different teas mixed into one. And the sweetened version, so a bit of sugar added. So you've got rooibos, Earl Grey. Rooibos, of course, being the South African species. Rooibos meaning red bush. Rooi is the color red in Dutch or Afrikaans, and bos meaning bush. So red bush tea, very good, very, very good. No caffeine, very high in antioxidants, very good for you. You don't drink it with milk or sugar. You add Earl Grey with rooibos, 5 roses, and vanilla. I think it was just a standard vanilla tea, eh? I distinctly remember vanilla taste. What was the make? It was what's the make of the tea again? What in that square box? What was that? Twinings. I think it was Twinings, the vanilla Twinings tea. Very nice. It's a good mix. If you've got all those 4 or 5 mixes, you've got to try it. It really is nice. And iced tea, no milk or anything. You stand it with a bit of sugar added, a lot of ice. Liters, and on a very hot day. I remember coming back after taking guests for a walk up in the Kruger, getting back from like a 2 or 3 hour walk in sort of from late morning into the afternoon, and just coming back, and there's iced tea waiting, and you just I've got some kudu here at the dam. Kudos to the kudu. Got a yearling here just in front of the vehicle. Got a couple females down by the dam wall on the left there. There you can see a little bit better. And if these kudus are as relaxed as what they are here, certainly means that there are no predators, or none that they know of. None that they know of. Usually with the kudu, as soon as they pick up any scent of any predator, they give that bark. Bah! Bah! Very distinctive bark. Females looked. And they've got amazing sense of hearing. If you look at the size of those ears, you certainly can see that in compared to the size of their head, you can imagine the hearing that they must have. Absolutely amazing. Eyesight is very good. Sense of smell is very good. Very difficult creature to get close to you without them picking you up. Camouflage works well. They're able to jump very high, very far. from a standstill, I've seen a fully grown kudu bull jump over 2 meters high, over a 2-meter fence. From a standstill, no run-up, just standing next to a fence, and it just got a fright and jumped straight up and over this 2-meter fence, like it was nothing. That was, I remember coming back from one of these walking trails in the Kruger National Park, and coming back late afternoon from our afternoon walk, and there was a massive kudu bull standing next to the fence, and as we pulled in, this kudu just decided, boom, I want to go inside camp, and he jumped over the fence. Beautiful little bush camps. You see this yearling? You can tell by age in kudu bulls, generally if the horns just go straight back behind the ears and are about the same length as the ears, you know that they're about a year old. So a nice indicator there. Feeding on a young leadwood, very hardened tree. Leadwood's kept its leaves throughout the season, and leadwoods do have spines. These kudus are able to feed in amongst those spines, not quite like thorns and not as many as thorns, and they are evenly spaced throughout the branch and occur opposite, what we call opposite, so, and at right angle, 90 degrees and opposite. Leadwood, of course, being one of the longest lived tree species out here, and can live up to about 1,000 years old. How amazing is that, eh? And once they've died, they can stand for a further 100 years. Of course, when you see the outermost branches, how they've weathered like hardened rock, how they've just weathered over the years. That is hard. I mean, you're looking at a weight of about 1,250 kilograms per cubic meter of wood. That is pretty dense, and it does not float. It sinks because it is more dense than water. So, yeah, beautiful wood, beautiful tree. Combretum, part of the Combretum species. We have a lot of Combretums out here, especially the large fruited bush willow. They've got the huge four-winged pods. If I found one, I'll show you the massive, massive four-winged pods. You get the small, the russet bush willow, which has got the small little four-winged pods. You get the river bush willow, which you don't find too much here, but they get huge, massive. They actually occur in the water. Get the red bush willow. So quite a few bush willows, all Combretums, and that leadwood being one of them. All very hard woods, very long lived, very slow growing. And the Shangaan people will often use the russet bush willow with the small little four-winged pods. It's called a kiriklapper, which is Dutch, and basically they're used for knopkieries. Knopkierie is a fighting tool. It's a long shaft stick with a rounded edge, and that is often the join of where this, because russet bush willow, if I find one, I'll show you how the branches often go straight 90 degrees up from one of the main branches, and they use that stick and that join. It's hardened wood, so they use it as a fighting stick. Zulus have also used it, the knopkierie. Seems to be chilled, taking it easy. I'll try and find you the russet bush willow pod and the large fruited bush willow pod, and you can see the size difference between them. Kath, if you see them, just shout, eh? Yeah. Okay. I see some russet bush willow here. Just want to wait for him to cross. I can go grab some, and then I'll wait till I find some large fruited. He's having a ball there feeding. Okay, he's moving across. Let me go and grab those pods for you, and I shall be back. Large fruited, I'm still there. Yeah, no more pods left, but I'll keep these and show you as soon as I do find them. The large fruited. Nothing else happening here at Treehouse Dam besides those kudus. Very nice. Very, very nice. There's all this wind, there's got to be some here. Got to be some here. I don't want to disturb these kudus though, so we'll have to carry on. Do not want to disturb them. If I can't find any on the ground, there are some still in the tree here. They've all been eaten. Right, I found some of the smaller ones of the large fruited bush willow, and you can see the different. Look at the size. So on my left, this is the russet bush willow, and on my right is the large fruited bush willow. Both from the same genus, the Combretum species, and all the Combretums have this kind of four-winged pod. And of course, the seed is then held inside there. Remember a couple of months ago where I did that survival fireside chat, and I made that tea from the seed inside the bush willow, the russet bush willow. You can see it even bigger here. I've never heard of tea being made by the large fruited bush willow. Haven't heard about it, but look at that size difference, eh? I'll just put them like that. See if you can go in there. So there we go, Combretum, and this is what Combretums have, four-winged pods. Of course, the wings on the pods able to, for seed dispersal, pick up wind. They're very, very light, and wind is able to blow them around, and they can perch on the ground, and they can then start germinating once they're down on the ground. So there we go. Huge size difference, at least 3 or 4 times the size. And I said this one is not as big as what I have seen them. They get at least twice this size. So this is still a small one. Okay. Nice and hot out here, sure. Onward we go. Still no serpents around. Haven't heard of anyone who's seen a serpent yet. Serpentes. Snakes, slithery, slippery snakes. They are not slimy as many people believed. They do not have any slippery substance on them. Of course, the scales help with that smooth motion, the smoothness. They are not slimy, they don't have a mucus on them. Haven't found any remains of the buffalo that was killed by the Kahuma males. I believe that they were dragged somewhere here in the block by some hyenas. You can still see part of the drag mark that was on the side of the road here. Somewhere in the middle of this block there's hyenas that had fed on, well, predominantly most of their carcass. Goes Mr. Jim Reeves, heading towards possibly Cheetah Plains. Oh, there's a gelatin. Ah, I just saw him. Oh, okay. I just, in that tree, that hollowed out tree, that there was a rock python a couple of years ago in there. As I turned and got to see it there, I just saw these black and white spots of a genet. Didn't get to see if it was a small spotted or a large spotted, but saw a genet, and he quickly hightailed it straight up inside the tree. Nice little enclosed area, nice and warm. Gotta watch out for snakes. Snakes are also gonna watch out for him. Janetta. We're heading towards Twin Dams. We should be there in about 2 minutes, or less than that, a minute or so. And we'll see what is around there. Seems a bit quiet at the moment. Seems like it's a true Sunday out here today. Everything is relaxed, taking it easy. Not even Gowrie Dam is. Oh, I see some buffaloes wallowing here at Twin Dams. Couple buffalo. My daughter Nyati or Nyari. Tswana they call them Nare. Shunga Nyati or Nyari. So head on over. Say hello. Hello there, big boys. Just come to say hello, if you don't mind. Don't have to get up on our arrival. These looks like these couple Duggar boys that move around up and down Twin Dams Road, Weaver's Nest. Big boys these are. Why they just are not as relaxed with vehicles that they have to move every time a vehicle comes by. I find that weird. Perhaps, you know, their past has maybe given them reason to be like this. But what in their past? Let's hope they maybe relax a little bit and see if they come back. No, it looks like they're going to move off. Maybe they've been darted one too many times. Who knows? Maybe they've had vehicles around, helicopters, bovine tuberculosis research. That's how they do it. Okay, let's reverse back up and see if they won't come back to the water. Just joined us, you're watching Safari TV live. Just found a small herd of buffalo around Twin Dams. My name is Jared, with Catherine on camera and Alex in final control directing. And I hope you are going to send in some questions. We haven't had any yet. Hopefully these buffalo settle down a little bit more now. Go back to the water. All giving us a bit of a dirty look. We're just here to look at you boys, that's all it is. Obviously being the black, the dark colour that these buffalo are, obviously are going to be absorbing a lot more heat than a lot of the others. And although they don't have as thick skin as what rhinos and elephants do, you often see them wallowing quite a bit more due to that darkened colour. They got far more amount of hair. That does generally insulate a little bit more so. As they move, they just stop to have a look at us one more time. Good afternoon, are there any stations mobile? No? Guess not. You see they're all bulls by the amount of boss on top of the head. Boss, of course, that large horned mass. They use that in fighting, in ratting. Buffaloes are famous for it, and that's also part of their weaponry for predators, and especially that sharpened curl, able to hook, and I have seen it before, hook lions and push them into the ground. Look at the size difference between those two. Jeez. The other one being at least 20 to 30 centimeters higher on the shoulder. Amazing, they're all sort of looking in this direction, but facing within an arc, so they can look almost like 180 degrees from themselves, knowing that the dam is behind them. Making their move. Just having a bit of buffalo conversation. Feels like it's just myself and Kath on the drive today. No one else joining us. Let's hope some people join in. Some of you, it is a Sunday morning or very late Saturday night. And for those that are ahead in time, it is a Sunday night. Okay guys, not to worry. Don't want to harm you. On earth, how on earth can I harm you guys? Alrighty, so we leave these boys and continue onward. Okay guys. Kenny. Hi there, Kenny. Kenny's just asking about any updates on the Lions, the Nkahuma with the injured back leg. Kenny, the last we saw was when they crossed over into Buffelshoek, and Abel followed. It was a couple mornings ago, and Abel followed, and after that morning they have not been seen since then. But it certainly looked like he was doing much better. He was able to move a lot quicker. He was putting weight on it. So I think he should be fine, Kenny, not to worry him. He should be good to go. And if he sticks around with the other male or with the rest of the females of the pride, his chances of healing quicker is very good. He just needs to stick around with him, and when we were seeing it, it looked like they were tolerating those males' presence quite a bit, so all good. Hello, Piggy. Piggy is just asking if anyone's seen the judge lately. Piggy, I think the judge was seen Tara apparently saw the judge, she said. I'm not sure, I think we might have been on leave, I'm not too sure. But Tara did say that she did see the judge. So all is well with him. And I remember we had the discussion a couple of months ago because he hadn't been seen for quite a few months. And everyone was worried about him. But apparently he's good, doing well. Obviously he's found a herd that he's walking with. Some fresh rhino tracks here over this morning's tracks. What are they? Yeah. Rhino tracks. Hello Ellen. Ellen just asking about the Battle at Kruger YouTube video that is such a big hit. Not sure how many people have hit it, but I've certainly watched it a few times. And where we used to work in Singita wasn't very far from there. But no, never saw anything quite that dramatic. I have seen, what's the biggest sort of comparison I've seen to that? Sure. Trying to think, two predators battling it out over one prey. I guess hyena and lion I've seen battling it out over the same prey, fighting. You know, there's that Beverly and Derek Joubert documentary called Eternal Enemies, with the eternal feud between lion and hyena. So that seems to be quite well, not common, but certainly the most common encounter between predators, that with other than leopard and hyena. Leopard being more of a difficult animal to spot though. So yeah, I've seen a battle with the lion and hyena battling over the same predator, and hyena getting the hiding of its life, surviving, but certainly getting their bums beaten by the lions. And on a regular basis, at a previous lodge in Kruger that I used to work at, the male lions, the two male lions, used to kill hyenas on a regular basis, to the extent that sitting dinner and on the other side of the river on many nights, hearing the lions calling just over the river, and having sort of telling my guests, right, let's get into the car, getting into the jeep, driving around, and literally on 2 or 3 occasions finding a hyena lying completely mangled and eventually dying. Man, those hyenas had a tough time in that area. Those lions did not tolerate those hyenas at all. But Ellen, nothing quite like Battle at Kruger. That is, and I think that's why it's been such a big hit, because it's such a big rarity to see, especially with crocodile, lion. I mean, one of those lions could have been taken. Well, those rhino tracks are still going up. They've just made their way up Vulture's Nest here, so we'll continue up. All the way up Twin Dams, made their way through here, still see their tracks. The tracks. We're walking in the middle of the road. Looking like it was after drive because it's over the vehicle tracks. Sarsaparilla just asking about the boss. What is the boss made of? The boss is actually keratin covering. Like the horns, all the horns are the same. It's a keratin covering over a bony substrate. What we'll do is, I know that just at Gowrie Dam there is that buffalo skull still with the horns intact. The horns are left behind. The only thing that really eats the horns, that keratin, is a horn-boring moth. No animal eats the keratin besides that moth, and often when that gets decays and rots, the bone is left behind, and then often hyena may feed on that bone, that bony underlying layer. But certainly, that's all that's left behind, is that horn mass. Look at this, we've got a couple impala rams with 2 Nyala cows with their youngsters. Beautiful. Mixing with each other. Of course, impala very distinctive with the Nyala in the background. And of course, impala having the black stripes on the back, Nyala having the white stripes over the flanks. Both species being occurring in the same area. The Nyala, though, prefer more so the woodland area. They are woodland dwelling species, kind of like the kudu. Notice the kudu resemblance of the white stripes. Impala being an animal that is a mixed feeder, so you find them in pretty much all vegetation types. As long as there's food, you'll find impala, whether it's leaves, grass, flowers, you name it, they'll eat it. Seeds. Graham, just to let you know, there was Hlambe Nyati twin dams. Graham coming out, not answering his radio again. Very famous for not answering his radio. As they head into the bush. Wombat, hello Wombat. And sorry Alex, just say that organization again. Sure. Wombat, I'm actually not too sure. Yeah, got it. Wombat asking about Africat, saying they capture and what have you, but do they release her in the Sabi Sands? I don't really know, Wombat. I've never really heard anything of Africat, so I'm not sure of what they do. Never heard of them. Don't know if they release any cats here, so I don't know. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Stations. I had a small Hlambi Nyati stationary at Twin Dams. Let's take a different road. Should we take Hyena Road up towards Buffelshoek Dam? Haven't taken Hyena Road in a while, hey? Let's take that. Graham's just come past from the dam, from Gowrie Dam. Haven't heard anything from them. Not too sure what our signal's going to be like up here. Can't remember. Haven't really done too much of Hyena Road. And these rhino tracks are still here. Certainly looks from, I just saw a marking and scraping on the ground by this bull rhino. And it looks like it has dried, so possibly after the drive this morning. Can you walk here? Yeah, he's still walking along. And he's heading towards Buffelshoek Dam. Rhino we see at Buffelshoek Dam often. So SAST, you'll just have to wait a few so we can get to Gowrie Dam and then have a look for that buffalo boss, and I'll show you what the boss means, where the boss is and what it is made of. So stand by for that and I'll show you later. The sun is very bright here today, and while scratching my eye I've just managed to put some insect repellent and that spray of mine into my eye. That's not helping. So far all quiet here, Hyena Road. Animal life. See if we can follow up around the dam for any possible signs of Induna from yesterday. They generally, the leopards don't stick around for more than one day there. They come in and they leave unless they're on a kill. And I was just thinking back, and I was explaining to Catherine this morning about the movements of Induna and how he moves around our concession here. And we saw him, well, he was seen a couple of days ago heading across Gowrie Main from the south across north. He was then seen here at Buffelshoek. From Buffelshoek, he often makes his way straight across towards Gowrie Dam and that drainage line parallel with the Mvubu Road. And then he sort of makes his way down towards Zoe's Road, Rebecca, that block. And that's what we're figuring out, where the sort of route that he takes. So if he was here at Buffelshoek Dam yesterday, there's a huge gap between here and Gowrie Dam, and we hardly ever see him in between here and there in his movements on the way to the dam. We've got to find where he likes to move. If it is straight through this block, well, then there's no chances of us seeing.
Did you hear anything except the incident from Suka when things were very
Okay, you see, one of the guys from Cruise Camp said that straight after drive, everyone had closed down, that a leopard was seen Gowrie Cutline, Buffelshoek Cutline, that area there. This could be Induna making his way across, and he hangs around that area. So he might be around Gowrie Dam later on. We'll go and hang around Gowrie Dam later on in the afternoon. So there we go. This is all part of the puzzle putting together. All part of the puzzle. Hearing that Ephraim is going to follow up on some lions again this afternoon. There's some elephant and some rhino at Cruise Camp Dam. So Cruise Camp being very far up to the northeast, right on almost on the Kruger boundary there. Yes, it's a prime real estate spot, that is. For those guys have got that piece. Wow. If there's one place, if you had to give me an option as to where I was looking to buy a piece of property, somewhere inside here. You've got Manyaleti above you, you've got Kruger to the east of you, you've got the rest of Buffelshoek to the west, and you've got the Sabi Sands in the south. Wow, you are just set up for huge game viewing opportunities. Absolute fantastic area. You get the lions, the big prides of lions coming in from the Kruger, good cheetah sightings, good elephants, good buffalo, good rhino. Very good area. Okay, just on the fire break, we'll be turning off to go and have a look at the dam quickly. And then we'll make our way towards Gowrie Dam. Ah. Huh. There's a rhino treehouse dam. Yeah. We were there straight out the gates this morning. Must have just been on the bush there somewhere. It's just got him now. So the water's the place to be, but just got to be timing. The buffalo at Twin Dams, Rhino now at Treehouse Dam. Apparently saying the rhino is a little bit mafufunyan, a little bit crazy, a little bit mad, and he's heading south, straight south, running. Rhino is not sticking around. So we'll go around Buffalo Dam, and there's a nice big giraffe here. Have a look. Black-bellied bastard is back. Just saw the black-bellied bastard walking from the dam here where we saw him the first time. Oh, then there's a couple of giraffe here. Look how big that guy is. Sure, he's big. This guy is huge. Feeding on, funny enough, a tambuti tree. Tambuti we know as being one of the poisonous trees, having the milky latex. And generally the black rhino feeds on the tambuti, but this giraffe looks like he's enjoying it. Oh no, don't go away. Come back. Oh no, no. Wonder if we can get across there. Shall we see? Oh, is this enough? Another giraffe here. Looks like a bull and a cow. Ah, there's three. Three giraffe. It's a journey. Just Yeah, nice. Just made our way across into the middle of that little peninsula that it goes into the middle of Buffelshoek Dam. Managed to cross over. That just shows you how dry quickly the dam is drying up, that you can literally drive straight across. There's a nice little dry bridge that you can drive straight across. Very nice. This bull has got 2 cows to himself. There's no other bulls around. That looks like he's being challenged, and he's obviously hanging around with them, maybe testing each of them to see if they are ready and ready for mating. And how he'll do this is he'll approach each female from behind. He will lick the underside of their tail and stimulates them to urinate. And as they urinate, he laps up that urine, and by pulling the tongue back in with urine into the mouth, there's the organ of Jacobson, which which is situated in the palate of the mouth. And that then deciphers the different chemical messages within the urine and is able to pick up any of the steroid levels that may be present within within an estrus female. Although this particular female looks pregnant already. She's quite heavily set. Giraffe are very clever. Always know when exactly they can stop putting a bit of bush between us and them before they turn and look. And quite often you can almost, by the size of the animal, you can almost see the size of the distance or the length of the distance where they often turn around and look at the predator. Giraffe being quite a large prey item, often they'll move away from the predator, turn very, very close distance, where something like an impala, which is much, much smaller, that distance then is 3 or 4 or 5 times greater because they're 3 or 4 or 5 times smaller than that of a giraffe. And they're moving away from us. I'm not going to chase through this bush here. Peggy asked, do you have any poison ivy, poison oak? We do have, not poison ivy or poison oak, but we have what we call stinging nettle, which has the same sort of effect. And I remember a couple of years ago, myself and a couple of the other rangers at Singita, we were climbing through the Lubombo Mountains. We were doing a bit of birding and just exploring new areas in the Lubombo Mountains on the eastern boundary to Kruger and Mozambique. And wow, as I jumped off this one rock, I didn't see the stinging nettle amongst the other vegetation. And as I landed, I sort of used my arms and landed like that. And I didn't see, and I landed straight on the underside of my arm here, where it's the most sensitive here. And I landed smack bang on the stinging nettle. And oh my word, I wanted to chop my arm off. The pain was intense and I just wanted to scratch. It was itchy and there was huge pain. But I'd never been stung like that before, and one of the other guys said, if you scratch it, you're going to make it worse. Obviously because of the fine hairs that come off and pierce your skin. You start scratching, you start pushing them all back into, even further into your skin. And I had to bite, and a few words came out of my mouth that I was not proud of, but man, it was painful. And I sat there for about 10 minutes, and my arm went bright red, got a bit swollen, and then literally from intense pain to nothing. But if I touched it, that pain came back again. So I had to walk with my arm like this and just took a bit of water and sprayed it on, hoping that a lot of those fine hairs would get washed out. But yeah, that was not fun. And if poison oak or poison ivy is anything like that, man, I don't envy anyone. But it's not a very common thing out here. Again, not very common at all. I suppose there are certain areas that they prefer, but in these areas here, you don't find it very often. Okay, we're on Biffleswood Cut Line, and we are heading back west towards Gowrie Dam. Gonna have a good look along the drainage line as we drive down Gowrie Cut Line. Here we have a new person to JTV, new viewer, and it's Link Design. Hello there, and welcome. And as we say, rather late than never, hey? A very warm welcome. And that was from SAST saying welcome as well. From the rest of the Safari TV team, very warm welcome. Hope you stay and watch for some time to come. And you've got me on my second last drive here for Safari TV. Tomorrow morning will be my last, so hopefully people will join me for that tomorrow, myself and Kath. Maybe Indunas, they're still lying on the Mlawati drainage just off Gowrie Cut Line, or he's made his way more west and is headed through the block towards Bubu Road, that drainage line there. We'll try our best to see what we can find. That's what he was trying to chase. No, don't go away. Looked like an ammo falcon. And I was sitting on top of a marula here, and I just initially saw fork-tailed drongo doing this mobbing behavior. And as he came here, I could definitely see it was a raptor, but that certainly looked like an ammo falcon. Previously known as an eastern red-footed kestrel or falcon. Apparently he was seen running or crossing here over Gari Main, Gari Katlan area. Mr. Nduna. There's no definite way to know what he's since. Okay, so it was apparently straight through down here at about 10 o'clock this morning, around about there when everyone had already been back. One of the Buffelshoek landowners driving around, saw Nduna running across. This whole drainage line is just absolutely beautiful leopard country. I've been in the thickest and deepest part here. Myself and Herman going on a morning drive, and the steering arm and the jigger broke, and we got stuck inside here. And it was pretty tough trying to get out with a broken steering arm. If some of you may have remembered. 'Hello, Vivian. Vivian's asking about all the termite mounds that we drive past. Are they all active? Vivian, you'd have to stop and have a look at each termite mound individually to know if it's active or not. And the way you can see it's active, of course, is because termites will need to regulate the temperature. They keep most of the walling of the termite mound closed, concealed. And often, if termite mounds have been taken over by whatever else, you often see these huge holes within the mound. So the next one we drive past close by, I'll stop and I'll show you whether it is active or inactive. And it's only really during the rains that you really see the termites active with those winged alates. Winged termites out and about and trying to, males and females of the winged version, trying to get together and start their own termite mound. Nice herd of impala coming up. Very difficult to see through this drainage line. Way too thick. You could just be sitting right below this dip and we wouldn't know. Here's a termite mound. Quickly, we can show you. Okay, Vivian, here we go. Just going to climb off the vehicle and show you quickly. Alright, so Vivian, here we go. This to me looks like this is an abandoned termite mound. And what I was talking to earlier about is a lot of holes. So a lot of these holes are completely open, and these tunnels go through this whole termite mound. And if it were completely sealed off, like you can see, a lot of this is all closed off here. This needs to be sealed off in order for that temperature to be maintained inside the mound. And the fact that you've got this means that it's probably the mound has been taken over either by ants, because ants are the biggest predator for termites, or the biggest competitor as well as of course things like snakes, mongoose take over the mounds. And certainly there are a lot of places that I'm not going to stick my hand completely down inside, because you never know what's inside here. It's the perfect nesting site for monitor lizards, those big other water monitors, snakes, mongoose to house in. So there are many potential dangers to be inside here right now. So I'm not going to go and poke around too much, but this definitely looks like an abandoned termite mound. No termites within here, and I am seeing a few ants crawling around here, so it looks like they've had a bit of a fight and the ants have won. And remember that although a termite mound, I mean, this is pretty big outside here. You're probably looking at about just over 1.5 meters high, and it's quite wide. The base at its widest, you're probably looking at a diameter of about 3.5 meters. And so what you see up here, as I said the other day, is like an iceberg. It's just a fraction of what's happening below, because all this soil that is exposed, this all came from underneath. So termite mounds are a great way to see what your soil types are in the area. And of course, if you've got a lot of rocky areas, you're not going to get too many termite mounds, because your soils are not very deep. And you can see this is very, very sandy, and large particles, very sort of crystalline particles with the quartz inside. And then deeper down there probably would be quite a bit of clay as well. So it's a combination here. And rock hard. Rock hard. So obviously with clay and being mixed up with saliva that the termites create this mound, of course what happens when clay mixed with moisture and then left outside in the baking hot sun, it bakes. It gets extremely hard. And this is exactly what they want. They need a good structure, a good house to protect themselves from the elements and from potential predators. So yeah, there won't be any termites in here, and who knows what. I'm not going to stick around to find out. Okay. Hello, Mike. Mike is having a look at the map. Just have a quick look here of the map that I was talking about earlier. And Mike is asking about this quarantine that we keep on talking about. And if I have a look here on the map, you'll see that it's almost like a perfect sort of square here, and just outside Vuyatela Lodge. So this whole section is what we call quarantine. Here it is here. So this is the western road, southern road, eastern road, northern road. So just this block here is what we call quarantine. You can see it's actually labeled there. And although we call it quarantine, it's certainly not used as a quarantine anymore. And what happened was, back in the day, quite a few years ago, it was used to quarantine animals when translocating. You can't just release them. They've got to be quarantined first. And so this was fenced in. And you'll see that it is more open, of course, with a lot more animal movement in there. It's the ground is going to have trampled, and it's going to be have opened up more so than anywhere else. But yeah, so we call it quarantine, although it's no longer quarantine. So often you might hear some of us saying this open area in front of Vuyatela Lodge, previously known as quarantine, and but it's certainly not quarantined anymore. So there we go. Hi there, Brian. Brian's asking that Amur Falcon, is that an early summer visitor? No, we pretty much get them all year round. Ooh, this Impala's broken his horn. And you will start finding them in the large flocks. Amur Falcon being one of the only raptors that live in flocks. You only will see one or two, but in summer you start seeing them in the massive flocks, and they hunt in flocks as well. So it's not an indication of anything major that's changed. It's not an indicator species by any means. But that cuckoo we heard the other day, now that's an indicator. Haven't heard a cuckoo after that. Trying to throw my eyes towards the banks of the Mwati here. Just trying to see if I can spot a bit of movement, flick of a tail or a flick of an ear. Impala is pretty close by, so obviously not aware of any leopard. We'll hop around Gari Dam for a bit, just have a look around, and then make our way up. Towards Quarantine, to the area previously known as Quarantine. And SAST we'll be having a look at the buffalo horns shortly. Look at that skull and how it is made. It's a relatively new skull. It's only about a month or so old. Okay, Gowrie Dam. So we'll have a look here, and then we will go around, go on to Gallagher shortcut, come down on Vauban Road, hopefully maybe end up a bit later back here, maybe just towards the cover of darkness. A little pearly. See the one hippo here. I'm going to carry on, I'm not going to stop. Just going to carry on. It's looking straight into the sun, so not doing well for the eyes. Sure, there is a lot of impala just in front of Wuyotela Lodge, just at the corner where the water sort of starts drying. Alright, Sarsaparilla, I hope you're watching. Let's go and have a look at the buffalo skull. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up. We're here. Can I put it on here?
Yeah.
Where?
On top one.
Top. There we go. Alright. Have a look at this. Alright, so Sarsaparilla is asking where the boss of the buffalo is. Let me turn it straight towards you. It's quite heavy. Quite heavy. This section here is known as the boss. Now you see underneath, this is all bone. All this white is all the bone. Okay? This black, this dark color, this is the keratin covering that sort of goes over for protection. And this is generally on some of the adult. This was I believe was a cow, so not a very large buffalo. So there's no substantial boss on whatsoever. Being a cow, remember that the cows do not fight, so they don't need this mass of bone and keratin protecting the skull on top of the head. You would see a huge, massive, sort of like a crease and a dent through here, and masses of mounds of this calcium bone coming up. This cow, as you can see, is almost very, very flat, and no sign of any boss here. But yeah, the skin has been peeled right off this whole face of this buffalo cow. She wasn't a very old cow. You can see not very deep on the horn, and she's not very wide between the tip of the horns. When people say, look at the width, when you look talking about that, they talk about from tip to tip. And then the sweep. This is what we call the sweep here. And often the big bulls are the ones that have the deep sweeps that push the ears all right the way down and then curl up like that. So there we go. This section here is the boss that we talk about. Try and have a look at the teeth. We can have a look. You'll see, look at these molars. Grinding teeth. This is not for, these are not carnassials like scissors. They're not canines. They're not used for anything but grinding and chewing up the food. Look at that. The front teeth, okay, those are used for plucking the grass, and then these teeth here are used for grinding. Now, you'll see that, I don't know if you can see with the camera, but they're not flat. They are very ridged and wavy. And this is because they don't grind they don't open the mouth up and down. They chew at a sideways motion like that. And hence why all these grooves are made in the teeth. So look at this. This is one tooth here. There's one tooth. There's one tooth. There's one tooth. There's a tooth. There's a tooth. There's a tooth. Pretty big teeth, eh? This is all one tooth here. Fantastic. Brain, of course, is situated just through here. We've got the start of the cervical vertebra. Look at that. So nice to be able to see what it really looks like. It's not the most pretty thing to look at, but certainly from an educational point of view, you can really start seeing, when you start dissecting things, you can really see how things work quite well. And there's still a lot of stuff left to be fed on here, and I'm sure with hyenas moving through the area, they come across this. There's still a lot of calcium and bone left for them to feed on still in the months to come. Bones often will lie in the veld for years until they get completely crushed up. Doesn't smell? Well, not very bad at all. Okay. I want to show you, this is the bottom part of that cow's jawbone, and now you can see obviously the hinge where it fits into the skull, moving both on the left and right and up and down, so like that. And if you really have a look, I'm going to hold it still and see if you can see how well ridged and how well worn these teeth are. And this is not even we're considered an adult buffalo. They consider adults over 5 years of age, and then from about 2.5 years old until about just over 4.5 to 5, there's a subadult, and then below a 2.5-year-old is known as a juvenile. So this was an adult's teeth, probably looking at about an 8-year-old buffalo cow. Now you can clearly see with those molars how they would have fitted perfectly, and with all those ridges. There we go. Okay. It was once a living being, and it gave its life, well, its life got taken away, but has not created life, but it's maintained life in the great big circle of life. Hello, Lynn. Lynn is just asking whether the chewing of the cud is done while walking, or is it exclusively something done when they lie down and energy saving? And generally, I suppose it is possible for them to chew the cud while moving, but generally there's an energy saving mode, and it's done during the least peak activity movements in the day. They rest up during the heat of the day. That's when the chewing of the cud occurs. It's not to say that it won't happen while they move, but generally if they're chewing the cud, the brain sort of goes into a bit of a different phase, shall we say. Polyphase brain waves, as we call it. Polyphase. It's almost like a daydream, and you are able to move around, but they don't. So generally, it's done while lying down or while just standing there, conserving energy. Right, this is Quarantine, or formerly known as Quarantine, like Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince. What is he called now? Is he called the symbol, or is he called the artist formerly known as Prince, or is he called Prince now? I have no idea what his name is. Hello, Nord. Nord asking whether the buffaloes have tooth decay. Yeah, I could see it there. I could definitely see it. Well, of course, those teeth are adapted and evolved for dealing with stuff like that. But just at the base of the teeth, I can see this black substance all along all of the teeth at the base. Build up. Not very good. Need a brushing of teeth. Still got quite a bit of time, so what I might do is get around Zoe's Road. If I'm if one step further, shall we go Pile of Plains? Okay? I wanted to go there the other day. But we'll break up a signal for a bit. We'll get onto Pile of Plains and go all the way around Sandy Patch, Pile of Plains, get onto Zoe's that way. Nice open plains area, maybe we see something new. But we are going to break up with a bit of signal, but won't be for too long. Try and get into some new areas a bit, exploring out of the box. Heard that there was some wild dogs around Idube. reading a bit of the Dube blog. Heard about the Mapokos or Machinga lines. It's the Mapokos, I can't remember now. But hearing about wild dogs heading in the north, man, that would be a great going away present to see wild dogs. Guys are looking for cats this afternoon. Ephraim loves the lions. It's going to be another beautiful sunset with all the fire smoke around. Yes, that'll be great. That'll be great. There's no one else for miles from where we are, so we could have them for a while. Anything we find, we would have them for a while. Everyone else is Torchwood, Buffelshoek. We're trying this to see and test the boundaries of our signal. How's that? If we find anything that's just a bonus. Okay, just coming up to Sandy back. We should start breaking up a signal shortly. I'm going to move through the area.